Right, I'm here today in St John's Church, Notting Hill, and I'm with Nicholas Cope, who's got a fantastic art exhibition in the church. So you have to come into the church, and it's by the, I suppose, by the altar, kind of by the asp. And we've got a set of pictures that he's designed. So, Nicholas, first tell us, what is this exhibition called?
Doesn't really have a name. I don't see why it should have a name. But I have to dispute what you said about design. Designing is something that has a function. This ultimately has no practical function. There's no practical function whatsoever in this kind of art. But I do believe it has a spiritual function and a metaphysical function. But they're not practical functions. So there's a big distinction between the two. Sorry, I had to say that.
Yeah, no, oh, sure, you've got to get it right.
Yeah, there's no name because why give it a name? It'll just limit it.
No, that's right. My first art exhibition was the art exhibition with no name.
Yeah, true. I mean, the name is my name because I'm the artist, I suppose. I don't know. Did I give it a name? I don't think I did. It's just... this is what it says on the leaflet, which I wrote. This exhibition is a series of images I created as a response to lockdown 2020 to 2021. So that's the name of the exhibition.
Oh yeah, I suppose we should quickly say it is now June 2021 and this exhibition's on for a couple of months?
It should be on for the rest of the summer, I think, August, maybe September, on until then.
And it's free to come into?
It's in the south transept of the church as well. So it's very easily accessible, it's completely free, and it's in a lovely church.
And we've got 12, 15 pieces?
Yeah, something like that. I think there's 16 actually.
16, right.
They're all roughly the same format. The prints are all 12 inches square, apart from one. And they're framed in 20-inch square frames. But they're all digital images, which are a combination of my photography with older work of mine, which I've photographed and put on my computer and just combined it all on Photoshop. Some of the work I've incorporated is very old. It can be up to 30 years old. But most of the work is maybe 5 to 15 years old. But it's also about the photography as well.
Because the photography is mainly a lot of ancient sites, but a lot of countryside as well. I've seen, you've got Callanish, quite a few stones, Tilbury Hill.
Yeah, they're the few that are actually obviously of like ancient sites. But a lot of the overlays on top of it, you know, people look at some of the Callanish ones and they think, oh, how were you there at that time to catch that amazing sky? Well, I wasn't. The sky is probably something else I took. And another place, but they're all kind of they're concocted by me to give an image of something which is beyond the material. That's what I believe I'm trying to do. Whether they're successful, I don't know, but I think some are more successful than the others. But some of them have. There's always a light source in the picture. I think apart from one of them, which is the one of the chakras in the woods. There's no light source in that, but they all have an image of a light source, sometimes more than one.
And that could be the sun, or in some of them it's a star, is it? Would it be in the
Yeah, there's one of them is like the Pleiades. In most of them it's the sun.
So we've got some solar energy going on in these.
Yeah, well, it's more kind of like what the sun represents to me. Not what it represents to me, but to me what it represents, which is the metaphysical source and origin of all, everything on earth, everything that's material. And that can only be metaphysical and non-material. So that when I represent the sun, I'm not really referring to the real sun in the sky. If there's two suns, maybe one of them is the literal sun, the other one is the hidden metaphysical sun, which is symbolically the heart. So, I mean, I can go on and on about this work, but...
that's fine, that's what we're here
I'll try
for.
and answer your questions.
Because with the sun, I'm very much into Akhenaten, the Egyptian pharaoh. And he says in the writings on the walls that they found, he's not worshipping the physical sun, he's worshipping the sun behind the sun. So
Absolutely.
this is something that's been known for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
This is ancient knowledge you're portraying here.
It's true. I mean, the thing is about the modern world, we take things so literally. And the modern world itself doesn't really kind of grasp these complexities. It really doesn't. So I hope that people, if they come and see this exhibition, will understand that it's not about psychological matters, it's not about theological matters, theosophical matters, it's nothing to do with Steiner, anything like that. It's to do with metaphysical truths. And that you can't find invented in the modern world. You have to look back at the previous revelations, which at their very core, they have their truths that are common to all of them.
Would this be something that was taught in the mystery schools? Are we talking about that kind of knowledge?
What do you mean by mystery schools?
Well, I don't know.
Well,
Mystery schools
no.
of the
I
ancient
mean,
days.
the inherent truths are at the heart of every religion and every tradition. I mean, Christianity, Islam, they're the two latest main ones. I don't particularly follow any kind of modern concocted kind of version of a pseudo-spirituality. I don't feel I think that's part of the problem, not the cure. I think the only cure for the ills of the modern world are to re-establish some kind of eternal truth, which you can only get from the already established revelations. I think anything that someone, especially maybe an individual, could come up with in the modern world is just not, for me, valid. When I talk about the modern world, I'm talking about post-Renaissance. I'm not just talking about the last week. So, or since we've had TVs.
But all your work here has got a very geometrical, if I said the right word, geometrical...
Yeah, there's a lot of geometry in there. Yeah, I mean, geometry... I mean, I was very interested in Pythagoras and Plato, and I studied the Islamic pattern at the Royal College of Art. And, I treat the geometry here as symbolic. It's not, I'm not designing a table through geometry. I'm not designing, as I said, something of any practical use. They are completely symbolic images using symbolic geometry, which, if one's, prepared to read some Plato, he talks about symbolic geometry and how it can, by analogy, represent the other world, the world of the eternal or transcendent. And I'm kind of trying to get at something like that in my pictures.
And because I love the sunflower one. So
Okay,
you've gone out,
yeah.
you've taken a picture of the sunflowers, somewhere beautiful, and then you've added a sky to it from another picture you've taken, is that right?
Yeah, the sky may be from, I think I took that photo on Gower, South Wales. It may be the actual sky that was there. But the actual crucifix cross on the image is from another painting of mine I probably did about 4 or 5 years ago. So the sun is behind the crucifix.
Because some of these, they look like Gothic cathedrals, should I say, or but not Gothic cathedrals. They've got some kind of.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, the true sense of what a cathedral is to worship the eternal. I mean, rather than give it any names, which I prefer not to, it's to worship or to acknowledge the oneness and universality beyond materiality. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at.
They're very beautiful and very colourful. I like the colours that are coming out, all of them. You can really see what's going on. Like you say, you was using the sun as a light source, so it's as if it's bringing forth, as the old Egyptian book of walking out into day.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the one I think you may be referring to, the first one there, is that arch is taken from a painting of mine, which is actually the arch at Glastonbury Abbey. It's a painting I did of that. And it was, it's a black and white painting I did, but that's not black and white. So they're all heavily manipulated to give a different impression. And I think I did another version of that, which had a reflection of that window in the sea or in the water, but I preferred it without that.
Well, the elements are in a lot of your pictures. You've got your water, as you was just saying, but you've got other ones. They're reflecting onto the sea or the rivers. You've got ones that are in countryside.
Yeah, the reflection's always very important because, you have the source, the sky, representative of the eternal world, and perhaps the water is the mirror to that. It could be our own intellect, or it could be the material world that is the eternal world is reflected onto. So, and without the light in the sky, we wouldn't have the light down here. I'm not talking literally.
Yeah. So with the crop circle one, is that a recent crop circle? Or
Yeah, that was last summer. I did
summer.
that. That was actually just over the road from Stonehenge.
Okay, because I went to one last year near, we met up, didn't we?
I think we did.
Yeah,
I think
went to
that's
the crop
right.
circle near there, so you went to a different one to me.
That's right. I think that was a week or two before I met you there. But I don't really go with this idea that it's all aliens and stuff like that. I don't know what it is. I think most of them are made by people. But there are a few that, through my geometric knowledge, that would be absolutely impossible to make by human beings in a few hours.
Yes.
Give me and a couple of friends a week, I could do it. So, but I think 99.9% of them are just people going out to the fields. Certainly the one in the picture is that.
Oh, do you think so? Right,
Absolutely, it was just a circle with they're very easy to work out.
Right.
I can work out the geometry just standing in them. They're very simple.
Because I like that one because of the way there's the beautiful blue sky. Then you've got the sandy colour of the crops, obviously, and then that light source and then the stars on it. It's just a wonderful mixture of colours.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of an exception, that one, because it looks like it's kind of slightly New Agey. A lot of them do look quite New Agey and pagan-y, but I don't believe that they are at all. They are about a transcendent truth, if you like, which is hidden from us.
Yeah, well, people shouldn't put them into categories myself, I don't think.
But you're right.
Down to the individual, I suppose, because we're in a time where we're trying to bring the truth back to people that I have ears to hear and know there's more to life than just the modern day or normies that go about without any concern for anything else.
Yeah, you've got some which are stone circles. You've got a crop circle, you've got a Silby Hill. But there's still the same light in the sky that there is with the one with the crucifix and the one with the church windows. So for me, they're just different representations of the same thing, essentially, which is the transcendent source and origin represented by the sun and its reflection in our earthly world. And they're really kind of different versions of the same thing. Apart from one, perhaps, which has no sun in it, but that still is in its own way. So I don't see a distinction between a field of sunflowers, a beach, a crop circle, a stone circle. I don't see any distinction. It's the material world, and it's what's created that. I think one has to look beyond the limited, finite forms which are in our material world and look to what the real cause and origin and source of everything is. Don't be distracted by the material. Don't be distracted by the lower half of each picture. What's really going on is the top half of each picture, because that's where everything originates from. Or I'm representing that.
Because, all your pictures, as we were saying, you've got your scenes at the bottom and then the skies above, but they are a fantastic way of looking at life to meditate on what our earth is and what's coming from above.
Yeah. People can do that, yeah.
So if people can't get here because they're living somewhere far, far away, they could find you on your website? Where would that be?
Yeah, a lot of this work is on my website, which is at ncope.co.uk, which is ncope.co.uk. That's my website, and you can see most of this work, I think, on there. I haven't put any pictures of the exhibition yet, but I will on my website.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Nick. Well, best of luck with the exhibition. It's going
Thank
to
you,
be
Debbie.
great. And everybody come down and see if they're in the area.
That would be nice. That would be lovely. Thank you, Debbie.
My pleasure.